What is up, Fantasy Pros? Today, we're talking all things NFL rookies for the 2025 NFL Draft. But we're going to file in some of these landing spots, projecting them, and then talking about the fantasy values, basically looking at how does this particular landing spot for this rookie change their value as we project them ahead towards the NFL and to our rookie drafts. So without further ado, let's dive in and let's bring up the consensus mock draft board that we have here over on Fantasy Pros. And this is going to kind of be our compass as we go through and try to figure out, okay, which spots are these rookies going to end up landing on? And we'll kind of go through round one. And the great producer, John, has given me a great compass, a great array of questions I'm going to kind of ask myself and hopefully to you guys in the audience as well, and kind of work through this exercise of going through all the picks and trying to figure out how these values change. So kind of looking at landing spots, so best fits for the players, basically based on the experts here that we have in the mock consensus. Looking at the upside downside case scenarios when it comes to a lot of these rookie players based on how skilled they are, how talented those players are, and then the expected landing spots, and then kind of their updated rankings. So I'll be kind of talking through where I would be moving them up or down in terms of my ranking as we go through each player and landing spot. But then at the end, I will kind of reveal my updated rankings based on this projected mock draft of the 32 picks and the skill players that end up getting selected. So let's start, of course, here with Cam Ward going to the Tennessee Titans. That is the most chalky pick. I think it's basically set in stone at this point that unless the Browns or Giants blow away the Tennessee Titans with a Godfather deal, it's going to be Cam Ward to the Titans. Fit-wise, it makes a lot of sense from the fact that he's going to be the day one starter. So we have that going for us from a fantasy perspective. This guy's probably going to play 17 games as long as he's healthy, and he's probably going to be the quarterback this year and next year. After 2 years, if he's been bad, then okay, then we start to have question marks. But being the number one overall pick, I think grants you at least 2 seasons to be the starter. So that's what I like about Cam Ward. Now, the actual spot itself, offensively, weapons it's not much working here for Cam Ward. Calvin Ridley is the number one wide receiver, and then it's a bunch of guys after him. So I would like to think that they would address the pass catching situation in round 2. I think that's almost a guaranteed, I would say. If they're going to draft a quarterback, they got to get him weapons, kind of following the CJ Stroud model where you draft Stroud in round 1, then you find your Tank Dell in the rounds 2 and 3. So I like that kind of strategy. Offensive line is okay for Tennessee. They made some upgrades during free agency. I think average at best is probably the best case scenario. I would say just from a fit perspective, going back to Cam Ward and Callahan as the head coach and offensive coordinator play caller, he hated the Will Levis turnovers. Like, he despised Will Levis turning the ball over, and Ward definitely has a little bit of gunslinger mentality to him. I know that I comped him to Jameis Winston when we did the comparison show a couple weeks back, and that does concern me a little bit, that Callahan is going to get frustrated, but hey man, you got to live with the good if you're going to live with the bad. So I do think that ultimately there is upside here. When it comes to Cam Ward, I mentioned CJ Stroud. If he has a CJ Stroud-esque type of season, puts the team on his back and basically just shows, hey, I'm that good and I can create a scenario where I'm rising above the situation. But you're picking number one for a reason. Like, the Titans have not been a good team for quarterbacks. There's a reason why they have the number one overall pick, and it's why they have to draft Cam Ward, even if he's not the best player in the draft. So there's also a real downside here with Cam Ward, where the Titans are picking the top 5 again because the team can't win any games because he's not good enough to make everyone good around him. I think that Ward is really boom or bust anyway, which I don't necessarily hate from a real-life perspective with the Tennessee Titans, because if you have an average quarterback in the AFC, well, that doesn't do anything for you. You have to either have a top 10 quarterback or you'd rather have a stone-cold worst quarterback, bottom 5 in the league. Because in 2 years, it would not surprise me at all if the Titans are back here picking at the top of the draft if Cam Ward is not the answer. So that's kind of how I'm viewing him. In terms of his rookie landing spot ranking, I think he's going to stay at quarterback 1 in most rookie drafts. I wouldn't be opposed to moving Shedeur Sanders ahead of him, depending on where Sanders ends up going, as we'll kind of get into here. But I think Ward's probably a lock for the top 3 in Superflex rookie drafts. I don't oppose that he's going to really maneuver much after that in particular. So that's it for Cam Ward. Now let's go to Shedeur Sanders here, the favorite here to go to the New York Giants. So Browns are going to be drafting Abdul Carter. It seems like that's where the betting markets are favored. I know Shedeur has a chance to be on the Browns, but for this exercise, we have 66% of the mock drafts indicating Shedeur Sanders will be a Giant. I think he's going to be a Giant as well. I don't know if it's going to be a third. I could see a scenario where they let him fall, they take somebody else, and then they trade up to try to get their Colorado quarterback, but because I do think the Giants like him. I think that the Giants like Shedeur Sanders, but it's a matter of the cost of acquisition to get him. And I don't know if they want to spend the 3rd overall pick to select him in this draft when guys like Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter potentially are staring them in the face, be like, hey, draft us, we're the best players available, which may or may not be the case in how they evaluate this draft. So I do think it's a good fit for him to go to the New York Giants, and you have good receivers there. You have Malik Neighbors, who's a star already in the making, top 10 NFL receiver already. He's only played 1 year in the NFL. You don't know what you expect from 2025, though, because Russell Wilson's probably going to be the starter. James Smith will probably be there to be the guy that's kind of mentoring Shedeur Sanders. I think that this spot in general will probably be viewed kind of negatively, but we've seen this before where rookie quarterbacks go, incumbents or the current regime has a coaching staff in place, a plan in place where Russell Wilson's going to be the starter. We're going to do this and this. And then once you start losing games and you need answers and you're on the hot seat, well, Sanders is going to be playing in those games. So I think that that's something to kind of keep in mind. I think that this is a proposition where you're going to get value drafting Shedeur Sanders in your rookie Dynasty Superflex drafts. I do think that his value is just going to go up. This happened last year with Michael Penix. He was falling in the 2nd round of Superflex drafts despite being a top 10 pick. And what do you know, now he's a starter. Now he's viewed as like I think round 4, round 3 startup ADP Dynasty and rookie Superflex or in Superflex drafts. So just keep that in mind. I think that's a good value proposition to catch Sanders if he starts to fall in some of these drafts, if people aren't in love with the Giants, because it does carry a lot of risk. I think the upside case is not great for Sanders just from a prospect perspective. He's not a prospect that I have evaluated and seen, oh man, this guy has insane upside at the NFL level. I don't really see that, especially without the rushing juice that he could potentially offer. And the Giants regime, I mean, they could clean house after this year. The Giants have a really tough schedule. They played a really brutal division, and it's really almost up to Sanders. Sanders has to play well wherever he gets a chance in Brian Daboll's offense to give Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen another opportunity to be back with the Giants in 2026. So there are just a lot of risks a little bit with Sanders that, to me, this upside case doesn't outweigh. So unless he really falls in drafts, probably not going to be looking to, I'm not going to go out of my way to draft a lot of Shedeur Sanders. So I think that the 107 range kind of seems like the sweet spot for him if he ends up going to the Giants. But again, I would not be surprised if he falls farther. And that's where I would scoop up the value, especially if I don't need a quarterback. Like I'm not going to try to force in Sanders unless I just don't see any more value left on the board. Continuing here with a player I did talk about before, Travis Hunter to the New England Patriots. Again, mentioned he also has a possibility of going to the Giants. So I'm going to kind of talk about both teams here. Both teams have expressed interest at him playing wide receiver. So I think this does matter for fantasy purposes. The Giants talked about liking him both ways. Mike Vrabel's talked about how he never wants to put any restrictions on players. He actually even mentioned Travis by name. Travis or any player, he doesn't want to put restrictions on them. I mean, this is a guy, Mike Vrabel famously played on offensive packages, the jumbo package with the New England Patriots, for those that remember. And this guy was catching touchdowns in Super Bowls, and he played linebacker. So if anyone's going to embrace a player playing two ways, it would be Mike Vrabel for the New England Patriots. So I like him mostly to the Patriots. Like, I think this is probably the best spot. Maybe Jackson's a little bit different, but inside the top 5, maybe Cleveland as well. But I think Patriots, realistically, he's going to be the number 1 receiver on their team. I don't think that that's being hyperbolic or being too aggressive to put that on Travis Hunter. I think that he can do that. The Patriots need receivers so badly. They don't need corners. Like, they're fine at defensive backs. So if he can be in some defensive packages playing outside of the slot, that's great, especially in the red zone. But they can't watch him catch passes in practice and then not put him on the field because Drake May needs weapons around him so badly. And I think from a long-term perspective, yes, you're potentially getting Drake May, an ascending quarterback, future franchise top 10 fantasy quarterback for the next 10 plus years, and you're getting his number 1 wide receiver who also happened to be a top 5 overall pick in the real NFL. So that's, for me, the best case scenario for Travis Hunter, is going to the New England Patriots. The Giants also, again, have a bigger need at cornerback. He would be the number 2 receiver alongside Malik Neighbors. So not as nearly appealing as it would be. The Patriots also have quarterback question marks. Like, who's the quarterback going to be for the Giants? Even if it's Russ for this year, who's it going to be next year? No quarterback question marks about the New England land spot for Travis Hunter. I will say, though, I want to mention this. Travis Hunter, if he went to the Giants recently hired former Patriots player and Patriots wide receiver coach Troy Brown to their roster as an offensive assistant. And again, going back to, I'm turning the pages here on the Patriots history books. Mike Vrabel, Troy Brown famously played both ways at times with the New England Patriots, playing wide receiver and playing cornerback when there was a lot of injuries. So if anyone knows how to do it, it's Troy Brown, and he would be attached at the hip to Travis Hunter as they get him acclimated every single week at the wide receiver and cornerback position. So that's something that I really think is kind of interesting when talking about these landing spots. So with New England, I mean, Hunter, could he be a top 5 rookie pick in Dynasty rookie drafts? Again, it's going to be we're going to get as much information as we can once he gets drafted, because there is really no other player that is so landing spot dependent, because he could be useless on a certain team where he just doesn't play receiver and then we can't use him in fantasy, whereas another team could say, no, we're going to use him at receiver. So if we got confirmation that, hey, he's going to play wide receiver a lot for us, like top 5 rookie pick, lock and loaded for Travis Hunter to the Patriots. But with more ambiguity, I think it's, especially on the Giant side of things, probably closer to a late first rookie pick in Dynasty Superflex or an early second. Now, the next 2 guys we're going to look at here are for the Las Vegas Raiders. So the favorite right now in the consensus mock drafts is Tetairoa McMillan, Arizona wide receiver. I don't love this spot for him to the Raiders. It's kind of the epitome of something we've seen in the last couple of years. Rome Odunze last year, Jaxson Smith-Njigba the year before, where we have these rookie wide receivers that go to teams with 2 established pass catchers, and we kind of think, oh, we'll be fine. They'll just be better than these other guys, and they'll just rise to the occasion. And for 2 years in a row, it hasn't worked out. Like Jaxson, not great as a rookie. Rome Odunze, not great as a rookie. Now, there were other circumstances that caused those performances, but it doesn't make it easy on rookies to come in and have guys that are already established there. So it is a new quarterback, so it's not one of these scenarios where the Raiders receivers already have good chemistry with Geno Smith. That's not the case. So technically, McMillan could have a chance of being the number 1 there, but Bowers, and entering year 2, is already on his Hall of Fame pace for tight ends. And Jacoby Myers is just so underrated. So underrated. All this guy does is get targets. So I don't think that McMillan's just going to come in day 1 and dust these total guys out of the room in terms of targets. So that's something to keep in mind with him. Now, dynasty-wise, again, Jacoby Myers is going to be a free agent next year. So you could immediately see McMillan going up to the number 2 spot. Geno Smith will still be there, but who is the quarterback after Geno Smith? So again, a lot of question marks here with the Raiders landing spot. It's definitely not the best for Tetairoa McMillan. So I would kind of keep that in mind. I really would rather see him go somewhere where he can just gobble up a lot of targets. Like, he has an alpha build, put him in a place where, hey, he would be way better on the Patriots, to be honest. Like, he would be better for fantasy purposes on the New England Patriots. I don't think that the Raiders landing spot, though, is so horrible that it would move him away from wide receiver 1 status or going away from inside the top 5. The only way I could see it getting leapfrogged by another running back or receiver, just based on some of these other landing spots, also with the quarterback position here. So that's kind of how I view the T-Mac situation with him going to Las Vegas. As for the other Raiders player that's been heavily mocked, it is running back Ashton Jeanty from Boise State. Look, I think that he would be the RB1 from day 1. Raheem Mostert, nice veteran mentor, knows Chip Kelly. He can kind of show him the ropes, but we know that Raheem Mostert is way past his prime. So Ashton Jeanty would be just set up to absolutely get so many touches and show off his explosive skill set, breaking tackles. I think the offensive line is underrated for the Raiders as well. And obviously Pete Carroll, if you're going to draft a running back 6th overall, you're going to feed him the rock. So I would not be worried about, there's going to be a competition. You're going to get Raheem Mostert, the starter, out of camp. That won't last very, very long. I will say, though, because the other team that's really heavily mocked here for Ashton Jeanty is the Chicago Bears, with almost 50% of the mock drafts mocking Ashton Jeanty to the Chicago Bears. And that is a much better landing spot. Not to say the Raiders is a bad landing spot, but the Bears is the best. One of the best inside the top 10. Attached to Caleb Williams, young quarterback, and Ben Johnson, the new head coach. That's an awesome situation to be in. And even if we get an annoying committee between him and DeAndre Swift and Roschon Johnson for a month to open the year, if that means we're going to get him attached to Williams and Johnson for the rest of his career, then so be it. Or at least the next 4 or 5 years, so be it. I think it's an amazing landing spot. Either way, Raiders or Bears for Ashton Jeanty, I think it's going to lock him into the top of rookie dynasty drafts in Superflex as the locked and loaded 101. But speaking of dynasty rookie drafts, we got to talk about the Dynasty Rookie Draft Simulator. Our Dynasty Rookie Draft Simulator lets you complete a mock in just minutes with no waiting between picks, customize your league settings to match your league's exact format, Premium subscribers can test trade scenarios by mocking with their traded draft picks. Prepare for rookie drafts and Dynasty startup drafts all in one place. Use the Dynasty Rookie Draft Simulator to dominate your rookie draft today at fantasypros.com/simulator. You know I'm going to be diving way into those rookie draft simulator streets. I've been doing it already. Been practicing. It's a lot of fun, honestly, guys. It's a lot of fun to throw in your actual rookie picks and figure out who's going to be available to you at what time. It's good to do this prep beforehand. Then you get an idea of what tiers or players, and then you can also kind of realize, hey, do I need to move up to try to get this last running back in this tier that I want? Or, hey, I like these receivers all the same. I can trade back because I view them all in a similar tier. So we'll see how things shake up. Obviously, things will change with the landing spots as we're kind of discussing right now, but get in the Rookie Draft Simulator, fantasypros.com/simulator. Now, back on the clock, number 7 overall pick, the New York Jets. Tyler Warren. That is the consensus pick here for the New York Jets. Tight end from Penn State. Fits like a glove. Fits like a perfect glove for New York. Jets have 2 needs, pass catcher and tight end. I love Jeremy Ruckert as much as the next guy, but he's probably not going to be the long-term answer for the New York Jets at tight end. So it's pretty awesome. I don't know how else to sugarcoat it, really explain it. It's just a very good spot for Tyler Warren to be on the Jets. Strong, talented player, very experienced. He's a bit of an older prospect, but I don't hate that for tight end because I think that means he's going to hit the ground running. I don't think we're going to see any type of rookie wall for Tyler Warren. And I've listened to some things and reports where they talk about he's ready as a blocker, he's ready as a receiver, he's ready to impose his will essentially on the NFL. And, he's played at Penn State for a while. So assuming the athleticism checks out, I know he hasn't really tested, but I think he'll be okay. And I think the Jets are going to be running up the card to draft him if he's there at 7. And I think that this will also probably put him ahead of some of these receivers that maybe don't get as great landing spots for us here in this exercise or just in the real NFL draft, especially if guys fall to day 2. Round 2 wide receivers in lackluster landing spots. We'll see who the Titans end up drafting because I talked about how I think they'll draft a receiver, but I think that, Tyler Warren is going to be wheels up when it comes to where he goes. I think he's going to fly up boards ahead of some of these receivers. Next up here, we're going to go with the Dallas Cowboys because 49ers, we're going to go with offensive lineman Will Campbell from LSU. Dallas, Matthew Golden, wide receiver from Texas. This is a great fit in terms of real life. Get a complimentary receiver to CeeDee Lamb. I think Matthew Golden is going to be a wide receiver too at the next level. I don't think that he's an alpha wide receiver, even though he's got 4.29 speed. He's a great complimentary receiver, CeeDee Lamb. So I love this fit here for him. He can still be productive. We've seen Dak Prescott produce 2 wide receivers, and we've seen CeeDee Lamb produce fantasy guys alongside him and be someone. Yes, he is the alpha in the offense, but he doesn't necessarily take away from another receiver. It makes the offense better. I think that both of these guys can be productive. Attached to Dak Prescott as a first-round wide receiver, it's a really good fit for Matthew Golden. I think it locks him into the wide receiver 2 in rookie drafts. It does depend on how people will feel about Travis Hunter and then where the rest of these rookies end up going among the wide receivers, as we will get into, because, spoiler, he's not going to be staying at wide receiver 2 for that much longer. Skipping ahead, Miami Dolphins going on the defensive side with a South Carolina safety, Nick Emmanwori. Talked about the Colts, 14th. Tyler Warren is already off the board to the New York Jets, but again, if they don't take him, he would be the number 1 probably pick for them there at tight end because they have a major need at tight end. So we go to the next tight end on the list, Colston Loveland, tight end from Michigan. This is another amazing landing spot for a tight end. I think that's what I initially recognized it as. It's not amazing. I should say there's an opportunity for a tight end to start here, but you have the Anthony Richardson, Daniel Jones problem. So that is a concern, right? You have a guy getting a starting job, so you feel good about that. He's going to run all the routes, but how good is that in an offense headlined by Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson? It's probably not great. So that's the concern. I think that Loveland, though, is so young that, I'm not sure it's going to get me away from him. I think it makes at least Warren, the debate between him and Warren, pretty cut and dry. We're going to go with Tyler Warren over Colston Loveland, just from the immediate production, and maybe long-term Loveland turns it around, but it may be 2 or 3 years where we really kind of just see that shift. So I think Warren would probably be the better play. But I would say, if it's not the Colts for Colston Loveland, the Chargers was the other one here. I just scroll down a little bit here to to pick 22, Colston Loveland is actually the most popular mocked player to the Chargers. And I mean, this is the smash landing spot for Colston Loveland, the Los Angeles Chargers. McConkey's there, Quentin Johnston's there, Michael Williams is there, but really it's McConkey. Like, that's who we're looking at as really integral pieces. Quentin Johnston, yes, was nice last year, still dropped a ton of passes, caught a lot of touchdowns. I think Loveland could step in and be the number 2 receiver. He's got Harbaugh coached him at Michigan. I would still, if this happens, if he goes to the Chargers, I'm putting him tight end 1. He's tight end 1 in my rookie rankings. Unfortunately, just based on the exercise we did, I'm putting him to the Colts, where I don't feel nearly as good. So he'd be behind Tyler Warren, but just kind of going through here. Man, Loveland, I think about it even more. I'm just excited for Loveland to be a Los Angeles Charger. Staying in the AFC West, we're going to go back up here to the Denver Broncos. Omarion Hampton. 55% of the mock drafts have him going here to the Denver Broncos from North Carolina, running back. That's where I have him going. I think that Sean Payton wants his running back. We saw last year, that was really the one part of the offense that wasn't really clicking. I know they could add a pass catch or maybe a tight end, but given the needs at other teams with positions, I think that running back's going to be the play here. And Omarion Hampton, the Denver Broncos need a running back. They have a good offensive line. It's obviously great upside for a head coach that has traditionally used his running backs a lot in the passing game. So you're basically checking off all the fantasy boxes that you want for a running back. 3-down skill set in an offense where you can see a 3-down workload. Yes, a couple of complementary pieces here and there with Estime, Jaleel McLaughlin, but Omarion Hampton would be the guy. And I think clearly the RB2 in the class and RB2 or second overall pick in Superflex rookie drafts behind only Ashton Jeanty. So yeah, wheels up for Omarion Hampton. Steelers, pick 21. They need a quarterback. Jaxson Dart would be the play for me. Whether you Aaron Rodgers here, there, wherever, it doesn't matter. He's not going to be there in 2026. Like, that's really the point here. Again, this is Dynasty. So looking long-term, Jaxson Dart, again, going to a quarterback-needy team. So it remains to be seen how many games he'll start this year, 2025. But this is the classic case of, hey, you get him at a value in your rookie Dynasty draft because he's not viewed as a starter, but once he starts, 4 games at the end of the season, however it happens, his value gets boosted up significantly, just like what we saw with Michael Penix. So Jaxson Dart, again, he may end up being a better value than Sanders because I think that Sanders goes to the Giants, Dart goes to the Steelers, both first-round picks. I think they should be viewed very, very close, if not just back-to-back in the Dynasty rookie rankings. And that could be based on your preference on who you liked more pre-draft. I like Sanders more pre-draft, so I'm going to have him ranked ahead of Dart. But it's not hard to see Dart having success with George Pickens, DK Metcalf as his wide receivers, even if he doesn't start from day one. So it's kind of my view Dart to the Steelers situation. So I do like it. Although I am fascinated by Jalen Milroe in this Arthur Smith offense, to be quite honest. But again, he's got a big arm. He's got downfield wide receivers. And the Steelers win games. So that is going to definitely help a quarterback look a little bit better. Now going towards some of these receivers here with our last 2 picks. We've got the Washington Commanders picking at 29. Or I'm getting ahead of myself, people. I'm very excited about my Commanders pick. So going back, sorry. The Los Angeles Rams are picking a wide receiver here. Emeka Egbuka, wide receiver from Ohio State. The fit, okay, he's a long-term replacement for Cooper Kupp. Devontae Adams isn't going to be there forever. Puka Nacua is obviously there, but dealt with injuries. Matthew Stafford's an older quarterback. So short-term, it's like, eh. Again, it's that similar situation with the JSNs, the Roma Dunzes, Tet McMillans in this particular draft this exercise where you're behind 2 other alphas. So it's just hard for you to get targets to be productive. So given that Egbuka is kind of viewed as a high floor prospect, I don't think you're going to miss out on him, not drafting him in your rookie dynasty drafts this year. And even if he gets a little bit of a bump, I'm not so sure you need to go get him because he's a high floor prospect. He's going to be good, but this year for the Rams, I don't love this landing spot for him. He's probably going to fall a peg or 2 in my rankings for some of those guys that get better landing spots. Like the guy we're about to talk about, Washington Commanders wide receiver Luther Burden. Burden, to me, and I've thought about this a lot when talking about him, about his prospect profile. It's all manufactured touches, but he's a yards after the king. Like, all this is all he does. I'm like, this guy, he was my comp to Deebo Samuel. So it's interesting that in this particular exercise, he goes to the team that just traded for Deebo Samuel. So I like it a lot. get attached to Jaden Daniels for hopefully his career. And he can learn the art of the manufactured touches, scheme touches from Deebo Samuel himself, who is on a one-year deal. Like, Deebo's a free agent after this year. McLaurin's a free agent after this year. So that's something to keep in mind. So I think if I'm going to be picking a receiver that's stuck behind two other alphas or more established guys, I kind of like Burden's situation a lot here. So I know that he's fallen a little bit in mocks. I know that he was once viewed as the wide receiver 1 in this class, but 29 to the Commanders, I really like this for Luther Burden. I think this is a spot where, hey, we know this guy could be a total bust because of the manufactured touches concern, but if he's going somewhere where, hey, we're going to get you touches behind the line of scrimmage, we're going to manufacture touches for you, then I feel good about Luther Burden here going to the Commanders. So he would probably be one of my biggest risers just in relation to the other wide receivers in this class, and I'd move him way up the rankings. So I've actually gone through and ranked all these players. So we drafted 12 players today and to teams that were in the consensus mock draft that you can find at fantasypros.com/NFL/mock-draft/consensus. It's updated very, very routinely. And I know that my latest mock draft is going to be part of this as well. So something to keep an eye on as you're looking to project some of these landing spots. But my top 12 after doing this exercise. So Jeanty to the Bears will be number 1. Omarion Hampton to the Broncos will be number 2. Cam Ward to the Titans will be number 3. Tetairoa McMillan to the Raiders will be number 4. Luther Burden to the Commanders will be 5. Shedeur Sanders to the Giants, 6. Travis Hunter to the Patriots as a wide receiver will be number 7. Jaxson Dart to the Steelers will be number 8. Tyler Warren to the New York Jets will be number 9. Colston Loveland to the Colts will be number 10. Matthew Golden to the Dallas Cowboys will be number 11. And Emeka Egbuka to the Los Angeles Rams will be number 12. So what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Where would you rank these guys? Where do you think they're going to end up going? And go through the exercise yourself. You know, how much would you move a guy if you went here, if you went there? And again, this is based on mock drafts. We have betting odds that you can look at as well to kind of help project where guys could potentially end up. It's a really fun exercise to go through and to see, okay, how much am I going to hold on to the talent profile of a player and how much am I going to be landing spot dependent? I try not to move guys too drastically based on landing spot, but like I said and explained, I think Burden is a guy that I just think he's so, besides Travis Hunter, for obvious reasons, is the most landing spot dependent. But Luther Burden, to me, a very wide receiver dependent on his landing spot if we can get his ceiling outcome. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and please let me know what you think about the video in the comments. And also be sure to check out the Rookie Draft Simulator on Fantasy Pros. Get you ready for these Superflex Dynasty rookie drafts. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Get ready for Rookie Draft Season.